You can see me on YouTube. Okay, great. Let's go. Okay, my loves, welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about why spirituality is not working anymore and what comes next. So, I love being able to document my journey where I can look back and see where I was a few years ago and see the journey that I went on to actually arrive to this place right now. So, going back, what I used to share on social media was a lot about spirituality and philosophy and existentialism and tantra and meditation and all the spiritual practices and all the spiritual tools and light language and energy healing and oracle card readings, like all of the things. And at some point, everything, and I mean everything, stopped working. I didn't know why. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was that everything I was taught about spirituality thus far no longer worked. So I had to find a new way to connect with myself and with my own channel to see what actually made sense for me right now. Not what used to make sense, not what teachers or guides or books or podcasts or mentors told me, but what felt true for me in that moment. And what I found out was that none of the spiritual things were working anymore, and I had to pave my own path. And it's funny, maybe this resonates with some of you, for others it won't, but for most of my life I've always felt different. Well, I was different in school, I was different from most of my friends, I was different in the way I experienced my spirituality, I was different in the way I led my business. And it was because I was meant to pave my own path and just follow my own journey and just share along where I am with what I have learned thus far. So when all the spiritual things stopped working, I realized that there was no one that I could ask for help. There was no spiritual teacher, no mentor, no guide, no friend that knew what was going on with me, that could guide me and tell me like, oh, this is normal. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes you lose touch with all the spiritual things because you are going through this transformation. No one was there to tell me that. And I walked the path myself. This was a few years ago. And since then, I went on a journey that I now call the second stage of spiritual awakening. So usually spiritual awakening, the way everyone talks about it is that you go on this ascension journey where you go up your chakras and you transcend the world and you transcend the ego and you transcend your fears and your desires and all of that, and everything is the matrix. Does this resonate? The second stage of your spiritual awakening is a descension of energy, where you no longer need to activate your upper chakras. You don't need more downloads, more visions, more insight, more clarity. You don't need any of that. You need to put that into practice. And that is a very, 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 very different journey. It's very different to just continuously have more downloads and more downloads and more downloads and more visions. But then it comes to a point where if you're not able to ground them into action and to actually do something about it, then what is the point? What is the point of having such a big spiritual awakening if then you're not able to move in the matrix? Spirituality has become this thing where the goal has been to reach enlightenment and to become detached from the material world, but that is so freaking dangerous. That is so dangerous. And for most of us, our souls and the way we are evolving as humans, we're not even ready for that. We are not ready to fully transcend this reality and to transcend our ego, because what ends up happening is a dissociation, not a true transcendence. And so many people go through this, so many people. And it seems like there is no one to guide them, no one to show them the way, no one to tell them that Yeah, this happens because this is what you're going to go through. And you're going to experience this period in your life where absolutely everything that used to work in spirituality no longer works. Where every single practice and every single tool and every single everything that you have been taught, that you have learned, stops working completely. Because you are no longer meant to just transcend reality now. You are meant to embody whatever it is that you have learned and lead yourself in real life. Because that's the whole point of a spiritual awakening, is not to actually transcend this reality, but to be here more embodied. And this is something most people get wrong. And it's not that we get it wrong, is that it's part of the journey. It's part of the journey to activate these upper chakras and have the downloads and the insights and the visions. But if you're not able to actually bring that vision into reality, what is the point? What ends up happening is a major dissociation from your mind to your body and an inability to actually build something tangible on earth. So you can be the most enlightened human being, but then you are unable to do the most basic things, the most practical, basic human things. And you know also what ends up happening is that your ego, at some point, it will trick you into believing that you have transcended it, but you have not transcended it. It just took on a different identity. It took on this spiritual identity. The identity that now I am a priestess of the trillionth dimension, and I'm the guru of this, and I am the this and that. Like all of these spiritual labels that we use, and I'm like, I don't really care if you are Shakti incarnated from the 12th dimension, or if you are Pleiadian starseed. Like, I don't care. I care about who you are. I care about your values. I care about the way you lead yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat other people. What are you actually building in this life? Because anyone can dream and anyone can have the downloads. But if you stay stuck there, what ends up happening is this dissociation from the mind and the body takes you into the mental realm and into the spirit realm, but not in the physical. You lose touch with your body, you lose touch with the most basic things, with your emotions, with your needs, with your boundaries, with your identity. And this is so dangerous because a lot of spiritual people think that they are transcending reality, when actually is that they are dissolving their identity to the point where they no longer know who they are outside of spirituality. So their ego has adopted this new persona that is the priestess of the millionth dimension and the whatever star seed and the channeler of whatever. But who are you as a human being? And most people lose touch with that. And when you think you are transcending your ego, but what's actually happening is a dissociation from your identity, a disintegration of your identity. This is so dangerous because then you do not know what your preferences are. You cannot make decisions. Do you want this or do you want that? You don't know. You don't have boundaries. So when you do not have an identity and you don't know who you are and you think you are transcending, and now your identity is actually like the spiritual ego, which is the trickiest ego of all, then you lose touch with reality and you lose touch with yourself. And now you live in a world of, you live in the mental plane. You live in the upper chakras. You live in a dissociation from reality, and you live in the upper realms of the mind. And upper does not mean higher, better. No, it means that you are dissociated from your body, from yourself. You have not transcended your ego. You have disintegrated your identity to the point of spiritual psychosis. And a lot of spiritual people go through this. And there are very few people who actually have either been there or almost been there and know how to bring people back. This is why so many spiritual people sometimes end up in psychic wards. Is that how you say it? Psychic wards? Psychiatric? You get what I'm saying. This is why so many spiritual people become so alone and lost in their own mind and in their own experience that they are not actually here. But what is spiritual about being dissociated? What is spiritual about using spiritual concepts? And this is something that I also want to address, is that once your ego grabs onto this spiritual identity, what also ends up happening is that your ego grabs all of the spiritual concepts that you have learned and it actually uses it against you. So things like just be in the moment, just live in the now. But now you're using living in the now to not take action. You're just living in the now and you're not thinking about the future. You're not planning ahead. So you're just floating through life without a plan, without any structure, without anything. And that can be so dangerous. And things like, oh, I'm just waiting for divine timing. My honey, you are not waiting for divine timing. You are just afraid to move. And if you pay attention, when you actually go on this journey of the second stage, this is what I call it, because it's what it felt like for me many years ago. It's the second stage of the spiritual awakening. The first stage is all about the upper chakras, all about the visions and the downloads and the energy healings and all of these things. And the second stage is all about your embodiment. Who are you actually being? I mean, you say you are this amazing spiritual teacher, but how do you actually treat other people, and how do you treat yourself, and how do you honor your values, your identity, your preferences, your limits? Like, do you have any original thought, or are all your spiritual thoughts copies from something you have learned from a guru or a teacher, a podcast, or a mentor? Can you think for yourself? Do you know what you want? Do you know who you are? And what are you doing about it? So you have these visions of the new earth and all these things, but what are you actually doing about it? And when people go into this dissociation from the body, what ends up happening is that your nervous system, like you are dissociated, and because of that, your nervous system is so dysregulated that you are in either fawn or freeze response. You are literally unable to lead yourself and to take action and to take care of the most basic things. That's why so many spiritual people struggle with money, with relationships, with health, with the most basic aspects of human existence. Because they are so disconnected from their bodies that what's actually happening in their nervous system is that they are in fawn, so they are paralyzed and they become the good girl and they do whatever the spiritual teacher says and whatever. Or you are in a freeze response, like you are not able to move, you are not able to do the thing. You get a download, but you're not able to actionalize the download. You have lots of visions, but you're not able to actually build any of them. And you know what happens? Is that all of this beautiful potential that you have remains a potential. And all the things you could have become remain as potentialities. And we're not here to just have lots of potential and to fall in love with our potential or other people's potential. We are here to actualize it, and the only way you can actualize your potential is by taking action. It's by doing the thing. I saw this with so many of my friends. You guys, my dear spiritual friends who were always saying the same things, and they were stuck in these loops of like, this is the new moon where everything is happening, and this is the full moon where your whole life changes, and this is the planetary alignment where everything is going to fall into place. Well, it has been many years and nothing has actually changed in your life, so maybe there's something deeper going on here. And maybe you're waiting for divine timing just because of how uncomfortable it is to actually take the action. And maybe you need one more tarot card reading because you are afraid of uncertainty and you are scared to make your own decisions and make up your damn mind. And you have all of these downloads and all of these visions of what could be, but you never actually build them. And all my dear friends who I saw stuck in these loops, and it's always the same, always the same. It's always the aliens that are gonna come and change the frequency of the planet, or the astrology that is gonna do this and that, and there's always like this major external event that's gonna come and it's gonna change your life, and it's like it hasn't. And it's been years and you're still doing the same thing and you're still believing all these things, but you're not actually taking action, and therefore nothing is actually moving because you are not moving. And what is so spiritual about needing a savior or an external event to actually change your life? You say you are the one, but are you acting like it? You have all these visions and all of this potential within you, but what are you actually doing about it? So, in your life right now, if you feel that all the spiritual practices, and I mean everything, I mean Kundalini activations, energy healing, energy work, quantum medicine, shamanic work, breath work, meditation, oracle cards, tarot cards, spirit guides, blah, 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 blah. If you feel like all of that kind of or totally, literally stopped working altogether, it's because you don't need another podcast or another video or another external source of inspiration or an external savior or an external event to change your life. It's because you already know what to do, but you're just not doing it. You already know what to do, you're just not doing it. You're waiting to feel ready. You are waiting for more signs, but the universe has sent you hundreds of signs and you're still postponing and you're still delaying and you're still making excuses and calling it spiritual. But that ain't gonna cut it anymore. It's just not gonna work at this point. And we're actually now, like I started talking about this maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe 7, and no one was talking about this. Like not one of my spiritual friends knew what was going on with me. I used to be the most spiritual, energy, in tune, so intuitive person in the room from all of my spiritual friends, and all of a sudden I'm like, guys, I'm just not feeling anything. I literally don't feel anything anymore. All I know is that no one is coming and I'm literally the one, and I'm actually gonna be the one to make it happen. And I'm not gonna wait for Mercury to not be retrograde or for the planets to align or for the tarot cards to tell me, yes, do the thing. I'm actually just gonna move. And I have documented my journey which is so vulnerable and embarrassing and empowering that it is documented, that I can watch my videos and be like, oh my God, I had no idea what was about to happen. So this was many years ago, and now we see so many people, so many, going through similar things and sharing also how their practices are no longer working, that manifestation alone is not enough, that saying affirmations is not enough. There's a deeper embodiment that needs to take place, and it's not love and light either. It's also not about endless healing, endless shadow work, endless, I need one more meditation or one more practice or to heal one more childhood wound or one more ancestral healing before I show up, before I do the thing, before I move. Now you are moving. Now you are the one that goes first. Now you are the one who F's around and finds out. And you actually become the leader of your own life. And you actually make different decisions, and you actually know what you want, and you actually know what you don't want. And you do something about it. What comes next after this second stage of your awakening is that you will notice that if everything stopped working, it's because you stopped moving. And as soon as you start moving, everything starts working again. But now you don't wait for another meditation. You don't wait for another practice. You move. And you become ready by moving, not by doing another meditation to be ready. You know, I've made I've written a carousel post a long time ago, maybe it was like 1 year ago or something, that went really, really, really viral. That was about, you don't heal your chakras by doing chakra healings. You heal your chakras by making different decisions. And if you get how true that is, then you already know what you need to do and you are already moving. So you don't go into your chakras and do like, oh, this meditation to heal my chakras and all these no. Are you making different decisions? Are you making different choices? Are you moving differently? Because if not, you can do all the meditations that you want, but your life is going to stay the same because you're not actually moving, you're not actually changing. Doing another practice is not going to change your life if you yourself are not making different decisions. You don't need another healing. You don't need to heal your chakras. You need to make different choices. And that's it. So what comes next? When all spirituality stops working, is you start working. You start building. You start moving. You no longer wait for permission or signs or certainty or confidence or readiness elsewhere. You move as you are in the moment and you F around and you find out. And if no one understands, that's fine, you just keep moving. When I was going through this, literally no one understood what I was going through. Not my spiritual friends, not my spiritual teachers, not my clients, not anyone. I didn't know what I was going through. And I led myself through it. And then my whole life freaking changed because I changed. I stopped waiting for divine timing. I stopped waiting for Mercury to not be retrograde. I started changing. I started moving. I started making different decisions. And that is when my reality changed because I changed. Stop waiting for the universe because it's the universe that's waiting on you. That's it. This is the work. And now it's your move. This is not a video that you come to watch. This is not something that you consume and you think you have made some kind of progress just because you watch this video. You have not made any progress watching this video. Because becoming aware of where you are is not enough to actually change. Awareness is not enough. That is the whole point. You are now so freaking aware of yourself and all your patterns, and you are so aware of your childhood trauma and all the ancestral healing in your family. You are so aware of your patterns. But if you don't move and you don't change, awareness is not going to cut it anymore. Watching another video is not going to cut it anymore. Consuming more information is not going to cut it anymore. Now you need to embody what you already know. You need to F around and find out. You need to move, make different decisions, and lead yourself in that discomfort of that uncertainty, of that unknown. This is why with my clients, I'm against just consuming information. I'm not your guru. I'm not here to give you more information or to give you another practice. We're actually going to go and do the thing. We're actually going to put this into practice. We're not going to stay the same and think that we have made any progress by even like watching a video or listening to a podcast or reading a book or even having a coaching session. Your life does not change from a coaching session. It changes from the decisions you make after the coaching session. It changes from the different choices and decisions that you now do, that you now make. The session itself does not change your life. And what you need is not someone to tell you what to do. What you need is to have someone there with you as you take action, someone who holds you accountable to your own standards. In the moments where you fluctuate and you're not able to hold it yourself. And that's normal and that's fine. And there are moments where you will need to walk alone, because even if you have a mentor, the mentor is not going to be with you all the time, every day, every second of every day. But there are also moments where we get to be held and we get to have guidance and we get to have support and we get to have a mirror and someone who activates us and holds us to a new standard. Because you don't change by having more awareness, you change by making different choices. And true coaching and true healing and true mentorship helps you make these decisions and these changes in your everyday life, not just have an amazing meditation, activation, whatever, but then everything stays the same and your patterns stay the same. That's not how you change your reality. You change your reality by changing yourself and making different choices every day. And this is what we are doing. You know, I'm not going to share too much on this video, but I knew it was time to create something different besides my own business and besides the way I already do things. And I got this download to create something, and we are now officially starting with the behind the scenes, and I'm doing this free experience where I'm going to share with you the backstage of the journey of what it takes to actually go from here to here. And I'm not going to tell you just by being here already. I'm going to share with you the journey. Because sometimes we also get so stuck in the results that we forget to have fun on the journey. We forget to enjoy the process. So this is the place where you go inside this experience to transform your visibility for the world. So as you show up in the world, you have all of this backstage behind the curtain journey that no one sees. So we are going to work on your visibility every single day, while at the same time sharing the journey behind the scenes that social media does not see, that your clients do not see. But here I did not, I kind of did not want to do this, but I knew that this was what was being called of me, to share the behind the scenes, to share with you the journey. Like, it's so amazing to see people sharing their results, but it's so deep and intimate when you share the journey of you getting there. And I share with you the behind the scenes, and you're not watching me in my own behind the scenes, but you yourself are going through your own experience behind the scenes as you become more visible in the world. This experience is called Backstage, and it's completely free. And it's my gift to you and my gift to myself to document the journey, while also holding you to your standard of being more visible and showing up publicly while you work on your own embodiment and your own back ends. And you go through this transformation and the decisions you have to make and the choices and the changes and all the things you go through as you show up in the world. So you are not just watching, you are actually part of this backstage experience. And I cannot tell you more now, but once you get inside, you understand what I mean, that you're not just watching something happen, you are a part of it. You are not watching my backstage, you are a part of the backstage. And every single month, I reveal more and more details of what I actually have in store for you. Because when this came to me, it was because I reached this point where it's no longer just about me. It truly is a collective experience. And it's not just about my business and your business and this person and this person. It's about a collaboration. It's about a web of businesses, of personal brands, of entrepreneurs who come together to build something bigger than just our own personal brands. That's all I can share for now. If you want to join us, it's free. Just comment Backstage below and I will send you the access. And this is what I want to invite you to. You already know, if you're looking for more intimate coaching and mentorship, you can also send me a message or a DM. And this is the journey. It's not watching more videos. Is what are you actually going to do now that, like, after watching this? What are you actually changing? What are you actually shifting? There's no point in just consuming more content and pretending that that is progress. It isn't. When you keep consuming content from other people, but you don't change anything and you don't take action, you're tricking yourself into believing that you are evolving, but you're actually just staying the same. And staying the same is not going to change your life or your business or your relationships. It's by you making a different choice. So what are you doing now? And please share with us below, literally, what is the action that you are taking right now after watching this? And let us know in the comments so that you hold yourself accountable, because now you made it public, and so that we can hold you accountable as well. Okay? And feel free to share the action that you're taking. And if you have social media or a business, to share with us the link so we can see your posts, so we can see what you're creating, so we can celebrate you and hold you there in your embodiment, in your move that you're actually making. Okay, my loves? That's it for today. Sending you all love.